Good evening. Thank you. 1 year ago, I introduced my father when he declared his candidacy. In his own way, through his own sheer force of will, he sacrificed greatly to enter the political arena as an outsider, and he rebelled against the field of 16 very talented competitors. For more than a year, Donald Trump has been the people's champion, and tonight he's the people's nominee. Like many of my fellow millennials, I do not consider myself categorically Republican or Democrat. More than party affiliation, I vote on based on a belief on my family and for my country. Sometimes it's a thought choice that is not the case this time. As the proud daughter of your nominee, I'm here to tell you that this is the moment, and Donald Trump is the person to make America great again. Real change, the kind we're not seeing in that case, is only going to come from outside the system, and it's only going to come from a man who spent his entire life doing what others said could not be done. My father is a fighter. When a primaries got taught and then were taught, he did what any great leader does. He dug deeper, worked harder, got better, and became stronger. I have seen him fight for his family. I've seen him fight for his employees. I've seen him fight for his company, and now I'm seeing him fight for our country. It's been a story of his life, and more recently, the spirit of his campaign. It's also a prelude to reaching the goal that unites us when this party, and better still, this country, knows what it's like to win again. If it's possible to be famous and yet not really well known, that describes the father who raised me. In the same office in Tom's Tower that we get together, I remember playing on the floor by my father's desk, constructing miniature buildings with Legos and erector sets, where he did the same, with concrete, steel, and glass. My father taught my siblings and me importance of positive values and a strong ethical compass. He showed us how to be resilient, how to deal with challenges, and how to strive for excellence in all that we do. He taught us that there's nothing we cannot accomplish if we marry vision and passion with an enduring work ethic. One of my father's greatest talents is the ability to see potential in people before they see it in themselves. It was like that for us growing up. He taught us that potential vanishes into nothing without effort, and like him, we each had a responsibility to work not just for ourselves, but for the betterment of the world around us. Over the years, on too many occasions account, I saw my father tell stories of the newspapers about people whom he had never met who facing some injustice or hardship. He'd write a note to his assistant and his signature black felt tip pen and request the person to be found and invited to Trump Tower to meet him. He would talk to them and then draw upon his extensive network to find them a job or get them a break. And they would leave his office, as people so often do after having been with Donald Trump, feeling that life could be great again. Throughout my entire life, I witnessed his empathy and generosity towards others, especially those who are suffering. It's just his way of being in your corner when you're down. My father not only has the strength and ability necessary to be honest president, but also the kindness and compassion that will enable him to be the leader that his country needs. My father has a sense of fairness that touches every conviction he owns. I worked alongside him for now and more decade now in job organization, and I've seen how he operates as a leader, making important decisions that shape careers and change lives. I learned a lot about the world from working construction jobs by his side. When run properly, construction sites are true meritocracies. Competence in the building trades is easy to spot, and incompetence is impossible to hide. These sites are also incredible melting pots, gathering people from all walks of life and uniting them to work towards a single mission. There have always been men of all backgrounds and ethnicities on my father's job sites, and long before it was commonplace, you also saw women. My father values talent. He recognizes real knowledge is skills when he finds it. He colorblind and gender neutral. He hires the best person for the job, period. Words and promises, no matter how visionary they sound, will only get you so far. In our business, you're not a builder unless you get a building to show for it. On my father's case, city's guidelines. Most people strive their entire lives to achieve great success in a single industry. My father has succeeded in many, on the highest level and on a global scale. One of the reasons he's such stride as an entrepreneur is because he listens to everyone. Billionaire executives don't usually ask the people doing the work for their opinion of the work. My father is an exception. On every one of his projects, you see him talking to the super, the painter, the engineers, electricians. He asks them for their feedback if they think something should be done differently or could be done better. When Donald Trump is in charge, all that counts is ability, effort, and excellence. This has long been the philosophy of the Trump organization and my father's company. There are more female than male executives. Women are paid equally for the work that we do, and when a woman becomes a mother, she's supported, not shut out. Women represent 46% of the total U.S. labor force and 40% of American households and female breadwinners. In 2014, women made 83 cents for every dollar earned by men. Single women without children earn 94 cents for each dollar earned by men, while married mothers made only 77 cents. As researchers as researchers have noted, gender is no longer the factor creating the greatest wage discrepancy in this country, motherhood is. As president, my father will change the labor laws that were put in place at a time when women were not a significant portion of the workforce, and will focus on making quality child care affordable and accessible for all. As a mother myself of three young children, I know how hard it is to work while raising a family, and I also know that I'm far more fortunate than most. American families need reliefs. Policies allow women with children to drive should not be novelties, they should be the norm. Politicians talk about wage equality, but my father has made it practice as a company throughout his entire career. He will fight for equal pay for equal work, and I will fight for this too, right alongside of him. Americans today need a company that pays people to rise again. A Trump presidency will turn the economy around and restore the great American tradition of giving each new generation hope for brighter opportunities than those in the generation that came before. In Donald Trump, you have a candidate who knows the difference between wanting something done and making it happen. When my father says it will the tower, keep an eye on the skyline. Floor by floor, soaring structure will appear, usually record-setting in the heights and iconic in design. Real people are hard to do real work. Vision becomes reality. When my father says that he will make America great again, he will deliver. We have a chance this year to claim our heritage in a country dreams big and makes it impossible happen. Fortunately, Donald Trump is incapable of thinking small. When I was a child, my father always told me, if you're gonna be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. As president, my father will take on the bold and worthy sides. He will be unafraid to set lofty goals, and he will be relentless in his determination to achieve them. To people all over America, I say, when you have my father in your corner, you will never again have to worry about being let down. He will fight for you all the time, all the way, every time. Maybe it's the developers in him, but Donald Trump cannot stand to see empty main streets and boarded up factories. He can't bear the injustice of college graduates who are crippled by student debt and mothers who can't afford the cost of his child care to return to work to better lives of their families. Other politicians see these hardships, see the unfairness of it all, and they say, I feel for you. Only my father will say, I'll fight for you. The hardworking men and women of this country identify with my father. He's tough and he's persevering. He's honest and he's real. He's an optimist and he's a relentless believer in America and all of her potential. He loves his families and he loves his country with his heart and his soul. Politicians ask to be judged by their promises, not the results. I ask you to judge my father by his results. Judge his values by those he instilled in his children. Judge his competencies by the towers he built, the companies he founded, and the tens of thousands of jobs he created. He's the single most qualified person to serve as chief executive at an $18 trillion economy. My father will call upon the best and brightest people from all spheres of industry and both sides of the aisles, a new set of thinkers, to face our country's existing and future problem with fresh perspective and brave new solutions. Come January 17, all things will be possible again. We can hope and dream and think big again. No one has more faith than the American people than my father. He will be your greatest, your truest, and your most loyal champion. This is the fighter, the doers that you have chosen as your nominee in ways no one expected. This moment in his life for the country has defined the mission and given it to an extraordinary man. He's ready to see it all the way through, to speak to every man and every woman of every background in every part of this great country to earn your trust and to earn your vote. He earned that and much more from the long time ago. I've loved and resented him my entire life, and I could not be more proud tonight to present to you and to all of America my father and our next president, Donald J. Trump.